for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
184 for 7 is what Mumbai Indians post against Punjab Kings in this shoot-off for the top 2 spots. Suryakumar Yadav doing the heavy lifting again and bringing back memories of the last outing with a very heavy-duty 19th over, but Arshdeep Singh pulls it back. 185 is what Punjab will have to chase if they are to finish in the top 2. Welcome to Nexa presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. We have the company of Tom Moody, Wasim, Jaffer, Dustin, Silgardo. Good evening, gentlemen. I get the pleasure of joining you all for this one. Tom, thoughts on the score and indeed the surface, because it didn't feel like the Jaipur we've seen so far.
No, it didn't. It certainly seemed to support the seam bowlers a little bit more, particularly when there's a bit of off pace into the surface. It seemed just to hold into the pitch a little bit. I know Aaron Finch at the pitch report, mentioned that there was a good covering of grass, and maybe that's the result of the grass, just the seam grabbing into that grass a little bit. And I thought Punjab, bowled well to those conditions. They only had a couple of moments where they lost their way a bit, but you're talking about a formidable Mumbai batting lineup, so you're forever sort of challenged. Every wicket you face, and another champion player comes to the crease. So I think they'd be pretty happy at the halfway mark.
Yep. Aaron Finch also pointed out that it's a belter, which this did not prove out to be quite so much.
Yeah.
Wasim, thoughts on this total?
I think Punjab will be happy going into this break. They'll feel like they can chase this down. They'll probably hope that conditions do get better. We have seen in the second half, pitches do get better. And this is a tough ground for defending totals. So they'll be hoping that the form of their batters continue in the second half.
Yeah, it seemed for a minute like it was going to be a replay of the previous game, MIDC, where a team has done well with the ball for 18 overs and then suddenly loses their way. That 19th over went for 23, but then the way Arshdeep pulled that back, the last over is 3 runs, 2 wickets. And so that's crucial, and yeah, that might just give Punjab a bit of the edge. I think, what they also did well, I noticed, was there were at least 5 or 6 overs through the innings where there was a boundary of the first or second ball, but then the bowler recovered. They didn't go for those huge overs until, of course, the 19th, but there were a lot of overs where there was a boundary or a 6, but then the over still went for just 8 or 9 because the bowlers recovered well through the over.
Yeah, pick that up, Tom. The Punjab Pacers is where we can begin. From the start, in the power play, they kept things tight, barring that 1 over from Harpreet Brar. Punjab didn't give many.
No, they didn't. I thought they assessed the conditions well. They went to that change of pace quite quickly. Quite often you see teams sort of not respond as quickly as that, but they obviously communicated that around the group pretty quickly. And, I think also their attack's pretty well suited to these conditions, which there seems to be a bit of grass, so that extra bit of that bounce and pace that was there, if you wanted to bowl the effort ball, it was there, but also if you wanted to get, some pace off the delivery, you could get it to hold off the surface a bit. I think the dismissal of Tilak was quite a telling one, just wide of off stump. He nearly paused his shot to run it down to third man, and it just ended up flying all the way down there.
And given the effect of the pace of deliveries that you bring up, Vaishak Vijay Kumar, his inclusion becomes a big point here. Those figures have been blemished a bit by that heavy last over, but the job done in the first 3 overs and the inclusion. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, I thought he bowled well. He seems like a real, likely sort of competitor. He doesn't mind getting up and, charging in and hitting the pitch hard. He bowls a decent pace, so he's not medium pace. He's, fast medium and sort of climbs into the bat when he hits his right length. So, I think he's done a creditable job. As you said, he had the 1 over, which can happen in this format of the game, which he lost his way a little bit. But, Namandir was right in the sweet spot there, wasn't he? He was seeing it very well.
Even more commendable, Wasim, considering this is a bowler who's only had 2 games, and those 2 were quite fast spread out. He played the opening game against Gujarat Titans, did a job, played 1 of the games in Dharamshala, and now he's back.
Yeah, even I, at the time of his inclusion, I felt like, could have been not a great selection, but he proved me wrong. Bowled really well. He's somebody who can bowl those tough overs, that 1 over, like Tom said, it can go wrong for anyone. I thought probably Arshdeep, in my opinion, should have bowled that 19th over, because anybody who bowled that over, they're going to go after that one. So Arshdeep, being the experienced one, I thought he should have bowled that over. But I thought Yash Jha bowled really well. Those two were very crucial wickets.
The typical wisdom, Tom, is that your best bowler, your gun bowler, bowls the 19th in a chase and the 20th bat if you are bowling first. Would you agree with Wasim? Would you have maybe done things differently?
Oh, he's a bit close to me. I don't want to disagree. Look, I think I think it just depends on the day as well. It's your gut feel at the end of the day. There is logic in what Wasim's saying for sure, but sometimes you find your premium bowler's not quite on, so you don't sort of accommodate him in that case. But yeah, it's 6-1, half a dozen the other. I think it's more, personally, it's more relevant when you're in a position when you're bowling second.
Dustin, thoughts also on Marco Jansen, who's done a more than tidy job in what is going to be his last game this season?
Yeah, again, I think as this mentioned, it was just about the lengths and bowling those cutters, a lot of slower balls. I think in the 18th over, he went to almost all slower balls, or there were at least 4 or 5 there. So yeah, just using the conditions well, not getting obsessed with trying to bowl too much pace on and beat the bat with bounce. So that's what I think he did well, particularly towards the back end. Yeah, I don't know about, the pitch, the fact that even somebody like Surya, who's been, in tremendous form, even he wasn't quite as fluent today as he usually was. What does that tell you about the pitch, Wasim, or was it just really good bowling?
I think, like, Tom mentioned, they assessed the conditions well and bowled the balls which were difficult to hit. And with those tall bowlers, if they hit that length, it's not easy to hit, and it's a bigger boundary. So I thought, you got to give it to Punjab bowlers. They assess conditions well.
All right, take us into that Suryakumar Yadav innings, because as Dustin points out, not his usual fluent self. It's of course an innings that only furthers all his records. He's made the record for the most 25 plus scores in all men's T20s. This is also now his most prolific season in the IPL. How do you assess this effort?
Oh, look, he's a superstar, isn't he? He's such a wonderful player. And what I admired about this innings was that he was prepared to accept the conditions were a little bit more challenging than a flat wicket in Mumbai. It was a slightly different innings that was required, and he made those adjustments. He tried early on a couple of his, sort of trademark, getting down and trying to flick one over short fine leg and didn't make contact with that. So I think he very quickly worked out there were some shots that he could play, and there's some that he had to sort of put to the side for the next sort of more flatter surface, if I could put it that way. But he struck it just a tick under 150, so it's still a pretty impressive innings, but not quite the level we expect of him. But I think that's to do with the conditions, and also you've got to give Punjab credit. They bowled well. Yeah,
there was a long conversation between Rohit and Surya when Surya came to the wicket. It wasn't there. Knowing Rohit, it could have been about anything, but it seemed like it was about the conditions and the fact that maybe, he was telling Sky that this is not perhaps the pitch we thought it was. So that's also an indication of maybe the pitch was playing differently to what Mumbai expected.
Thoughts on Surya, Wasim?
I think it's commendable. 14 consecutive scores of 25 plus. In this format especially, this is the format where it's very highly unlikely somebody is going to be as consistent, where you need to score over 150, 160 strike rate, especially when somebody comes in at number 4, fantastic. And then again, continuing to score, finding ways to score runs and, keeping Mumbai Indians to that, at least to the par score. So I feel, fantastic, and he's a model of consistency for everyone.
Yeah, and we've got Suryakumar Yadav's comments from the flash interview at halftime. He says the wicket was a little challenging. We practiced here last night, but it was sticky for pacers. Against spinners, it was fine. We fell 10-15 runs short, but hope to defend this. Little bit of pace off and seam up should work. It's a good fighting total. Sweeps and flicks are my favourite shots from the innings, but batting till the end was important.
It pretty sums up, exactly what we've talked about. Clearly there is a little bit there for the pace bowlers, so it's not what we've seen so far in Jaipur, which has been a very good batting surface where you can just stand and deliver. I don't think that's that surface, so it's going to be very interesting to see how Punjab respond to this, particularly given, a lot of their top order that have been firing shots are all uncapped players, so it's going to be, something they need to adjust to very quickly, which sometimes inexperienced players find a little bit harder than the more so experienced players. But equally, the likes of, we talked about Hardik, his bowling, what have you, this may well be a surface we might see him put his hand up and think, well, my off-pace, medium paces are going to be more than useful on this surface.
Yeah, let's tuck into what we can expect in the chase then. As Tom points out, Wasim, those Punjab openers, you don't expect them to change their template, but a big test of their temperament to adapt to these conditions against just the quality of bowling they're going to be facing.
I think they'll be coming out all guns blazing. It could easily be, if they get a good start, they'll put Punjab ahead of the game. With English at 3, if those guys fire and those guys play most of the power play and put Mumbai on the back foot, I feel, this could be Punjab's game. I mean, power play is the place where we'll get to know where the game's heading.
Yeah, I think Shreyas becomes a very important player on this wicket because I was watching some of his highlights from this season and he's somebody who even against those pace-off balls, he tends to read it well. Even when you deliver cutters into the pitch, he can sort of power it for boundaries. So I think he could become a very important player. I mean, he always is, but particularly given the conditions, he becomes very important.
And his experience.
Yeah.
And marshalling all those uncapped batters around him, all of whom have been thriving. Priyansh Arya, he's had a quiet period. There's no judging this season. It is a breakout season. But 3 single-digit scores in the last few games. Have you noticed something of late?
I mean, I thought he kind of, mellowed down a little bit. The kind of starts that he had, I thought from the start he was going after the bowling in the first few games. But I thought after that, he kind of understood that he needed to play a few more deliveries than what he was doing. But this can happen in this format. You can get out. But he's a fine player. Once he gets going, he's a dangerous guy. So I hope today is his day.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on what to look out for in the chase?
I mean, Mumbai's bowling attack has been excellent, haven't they? And they defended a score similar to this.
Yeah.
I mean, that pitch was really difficult in the second innings. So Punjab will be hoping it doesn't turn square like that one. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a close contest. I mean, Mumbai are always in the game with their bowling attack, aren't they?
Forecaster has spoken. 48 and 52. It's 48% to Mumbai Indians going into this. Tom, you have more or less nailed the first prediction of the day and also confirmed that you hadn't picked a winner at the time. Which way you
I'll give you
leaning?
my winner now, if you like.
Go on.
I think Mumbai's winning this, and I think they're going to win it by at least 10 or 15.
Wasim.
Punjab to win by 5 wickets.
No.
Tom's been getting everything right since yesterday. So I'm cheating and I'm saying I copy Tom. Mumbai to win.
Accepted. So that's a majority to Mumbai Indians. All right. Thank you so much, Tom, Wasim, Dustin. Either which way, this feels like a cracking finish. 185 for Punjab to chase if they are to finish in the top 2. If they don't, it means Mumbai Indians go through in the top 2. Who would have thought that was even imaginable as little as 4 days ago? So it is an all-important post-match show, which we'll be back for. So be sure to join us then on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket for TimeOut.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.